Come, let us explore how timing your meditation, the forgotten key to deeper practice. Starting anything new can be exciting and a little bit scary. That applies doubly to meditation. There is a visceral fear held by most, if not consciously then unconsciously, that we might close our eyes in meditation only to open them and find that a century has passed, like some sort of a contemplative Rip Van Winkle. So there is a lot of neurotic energy that can make it extra hard to meditate. I would say to you that there is a certain way of timing our meditation that can harness that neurotic energy that is latent within all of us and put it to good use. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For multiple decades, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. It is Kwai Gong Jin early Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. Our first 2/3 of meditation is going to look like this. We shall practice the essence of mindfulness by silently and mentally reciting the verb watch every time we passively notice air enter our nostrils. And we shall practice the essence of meditation by silently and mentally reciting the verb rest each time we passively notice air exit our nostrils. The first step in practicing Bengali crease counting is to assume the Pasadi Mudra, also known as the meditation gesture. It is beneficial for many reasons. Number one, it helps to gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. Two, it helps us when we feel as if we are on the cusp of a meltdown. Three, every night as we lie in bed, it helps us fall asleep. And four, eventually, when death inevitably comes, it helps us to pass away peacefully. Five, it helps us to keep track of our first repetition of watch, rest. Therefore, I think it could be a good idea to actually assume that mudra right now. It is as simple as using the tip of our left index finger to support the lower knuckle of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. Together, silently and mentally, as we inhale, recite watch, as we exhale, recite rest. Well, that was nice. Now, how are we going to keep track of our next dozen repetitions? Simple. We bring our attention to our right hand. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb watch as we inhale, we advance our right thumb across the creases of our fingers, beginning with our right little finger's lower set of creases and working way across and above until we get to our right index finger's higher set of creases. That'll make much more sense when together as a team we practice right now. Our solitary repetition plus our dozen repetitions took only a little bit more than a minute. Therefore, if we wish to meditate for approximately 13 or 14 minutes, we'll want to count multiple sets of solitary and dozen repetitions. To keep track of our next solitary repetition, let us draw our attention to our left hand and place the tip of our left thumb upon our left little finger's lower set of creases. In preparation for our next dozen repetitions, we return to our right hand. To keep track of our next solitary repetition, or single repetition, we advance our left thumb. And now that you have the basic idea of how we can count multiple sets of single and dozen repetitions, let us rest our hands palms up in our lap. Yes, this can feel overwhelming, but rest assured that repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams approximately once every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, this entire system you could master. The moment you have a specific question about the philosophies, about the philosophies or the techniques that support meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. For I tend to check for questions approximately once every 14 minutes or so. Let's take a moment to take a deeper look at meditation through the lens of neuroscience. Okay, one moment, I need to make an adjustment on the teaching text, or I should say to the teaching text. Thank you for your time. Okay, here we go. Sadly, one more adjustment. Please bear with me. Oh, here it is. Excellent. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. That suckiness could look like Yang's religious patriarchy or irreligious patriarchy that conditions humans to indulge their rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel tendencies. Only about 10% of meditation teachers have embraced Yin's spiritual matriarchy to the point of helping their students embrace their flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind tendencies. So the 90% are going to implore us to actively focus and actively analyze. The problem with this is not just that it indulges our rigid and controlling tendencies, but it so exhausts both our medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortices that it triggers our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. And I think we can all agree that we did not come to meditation class to become more cranky and anxious. It's the opposite that appeals to us. Fortunately, when we take a relaxing break from the exhausting habit of actively competing against our own autonomic nervous system and instead cooperate with both of its facets, then not only is the or are the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala calmed, but we automatically stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which is a lovely complement to the awareness of our sympathetic nervous system and the peace of our parasympathetic nervous system. Let's take a closer look at the parasympathetic nervous system. Every time we relax every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we have evolved to automatically access both the tippy top and the very bottom of our spinal cord. This has evolved. These two regions working as a team have evolved to function as the core of the parasympathetic aspect of our autonomic nervous system, which in turn has evolved to help us to physically relax during each exhalation to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, to the point that it no longer feels like that which we noticed is ourself, and as non-graspable as a vast empty void. It would seem that a simile is only as effective as it is relatable. Therefore, we must ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful, cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand? Let us therefore continue sitting and breathing and watching and resting. We have gathered our first collection of 13 sets of 13 inhalations. Let us now how the question now hangs over our head like the sword of Damocles. How will we keep track of our second collection of 13 sets of 13 inhalations each? Simple. We return to the Pasadi Mudra or the meditation gesture, and all we got to do is drag the tip of our left index finger across the back of our right index finger until we come to its middle knuckle. And now we start the entire process over again, thus gathering our third collection of 14 minutes. If you've just joined in, right now we're going to practice a single repetition of watch rest, wherein we silently and mentally recite the verb watch every time we passively notice air enter our nostrils, and we silently and mentally recite the verb rest every time we passively notice air exit our nostrils. Although that is a good start, it still leaves us wondering, what about the 13 reps? 13 minus 1 is 12, so that leaves us with a dozen. How do we count the next dozen repetitions? To answer that, we bring our attention to our right hand. And every time we silently and mentally recite the verb watch during our inhalation, we advance our right thumb across the sets of creases found on the underside of our fingers. Beginning with our right little finger's lower set of creases and working our way over to our right index finger's upper set of creases. That'll make more sense when you follow along with me right now. That single repetition plus the dozen repetitions for a total of 13 repetitions took only a little bit more than a minute. Therefore, we must ask the question, how do we keep track of the next solitary repetition? To answer that, we place the tip of our left thumb upon the lower set of creases of our left little finger and practice. To track the next dozen repetitions, we return to our right hand. We keep track of our next single or solitary repetition by advancing our left thumb. And now that we get the idea of how to keep track of 13 sets of 13 inhalations each, let us return our hands palms up to our lap. We come now to the final third of this morning's meditation practice. Thank you for your patience. Always fun to edit in the middle of class. Okay, so we're making some changes. We're going from white to teal. We're going from watching to feeling. We're going from the crown to the chest. And the way we do all of this is by working with the sati mudra or the mindfulness gesture. The essence of We're going to practice an essence of mindfulness wherein we silently and mentally recite the verb feel every time we passively notice our chest swell with breath. And we're going to continue practice, and we're going to practice the flavor of meditation wherein we silently and mentally recite the verb rest each time we passively notice our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale. So feeling and resting constitute one repetition. We're going to keep track of that repetition by assuming the sati mudra, which is as easy as using the tip of our left middle finger to support the lower knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. To count our next dozen repetitions of feel and rest in harmony with our breathing, we're going to turn our attention to our right hand. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb feel during our inhalation, we're going to advance our right thumb across the sets of creases of our right fingers. We're going to begin with the set of creases found. We're going to begin with our right little fingers, lower set of creases, and work our way over to our right index fingers, upper set of creases. Together as a team, let us practice right now. To keep track of our next single repetition of feel and rest, we place the tip of our left little finger, place the tip of our left thumb upon the left little finger's lower set of creases. And then return to our right hand for an additional dozen repetitions. This method of crease counting, I describe this method of timing one's meditation as Bengali crease counting. I As an infant, as a newborn, I presented with the symptoms of fetal alcohol spectrum. As an adult, I've been diagnosed as having both ADHD and autism. And yet, despite all these neurological challenges, I've been able to master these teachings on mindfulness and meditation through the cunning use of this ridiculous technique. Perhaps it could benefit you as well. To keep track of our next solitary repetition, we return to our left hand. And now that we've got a good grasp of how we could count, thusly keep track of 13 sets of 13 inhalations, let us rest our hands palms up in our lap. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. In approximately 10 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's dusk practice of Meditate Like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.